Yeah. Fort Worth has a lot of dog walkers. You don't see hardly any cat walkers, though. I've been thinking about getting a harness and taking Edmund for a stroll, see how he would do. We gotta get the cat harness first. We might do a whole vlog on it. Okay, so I went the right direction, so I put in the GPS in the right direction to go to a certain place on Bryce. This is Mistletoe right here with the house and all that stuff. But the other one was Bryce, and they had like $100 worth of like Italian food, and this was the Mistletoe one. So I walk up and I'm handing her pizza, and she's like, "What?" Then I look at the ticket and I realize the ticket's switching. Oh, okay. So I go and switch the two tickets, because one's supposed to be signed and one's supposed to be just, it's a regular thing. And, which is like an online purchase. So I'm like, oh, okay. And so then I hand her the pizza again. She's like, "What?" Because I hand her the ticket first, and she's like, "What?" Because it wasn't her ticket. So I was like, oh. And so then I go and hand her the right ticket, or show her the right ticket, and try to hand her. Because in my mind, I didn't switch over that it was the different order, because they put numbers on it. I'm like, oh, okay. So she's like, oh. And so, they had like, spaghetti and all this Italian. Looks like somebody's moving. Food. And I was like, oh, okay. And then, because you don't really, they're like, what? They know it's not just a pizza. They get like all these other dishes and stuff. You know what I mean? Anyway, they got the right stuff, because he just got the pizza. I don't really show all that, because it's like, it's not really completely about. I mean, this is what I'm doing now, because you have to make it ends meet no matter what, or at least have to attempt to. But it's like slow building process of. And what I thought about doing, this is another idea I came up with when I was thinking about the movie, whatever I call it, The Circle or The Step of the Cat. I was thinking about even calling it something completely different. Like one title, I thought it was Elements of Noir, and I thought, well, that sounds too like educational. And then I thought Elements of the Cat. I like that because there's another film called Elements of Crime, and Elements of the Cat would stick out. So we might get rid of the whole circle thing. And like another thing too is like it's dealing with smartphones. So the circle and smartphones, the smartphone does have like a little spin thing on it. So I like the idea of this. Maybe Elements of the Circle I might want to call it that rather than the cat. I'll have to decide if it's going to be Elements of the Circle or Elements of the Cat. But right now, we're just putting it under working titles. So I've got there'll be different working titles that will come up on new film idea. They're all basically the same thing. It'll have the bird and Hopperhead, Kitty, and Rob. Those characters will be in it with a different title. I think eventually it was the Circle, then it was like the Zircle, then it was like the Circle or the Step of the Cat, then it was the Circle, the Step of the Cat, or Circle, the Step of the Cat. I'm thinking about maybe getting rid of all that and maybe going with Elements of the Cat or Elements of the Circle, which I kind of like that. Elements of the Circle, or maybe just Elements. I don't know. Maybe go back to just the Circle. But anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, you can get costumes, makeup, lighting, magic. They're open all year. Magic, etc. Maybe noir, etc. Look at this right here. Look at this bridge right here. I always thought about filming on that bridge. Now I filmed on another bridge, which is further down, way over here on the other side of that bridge, which is called the West 7th Bridge, because it's pretty safe to walk across that. This one, I think you can walk across this one, and then they have like a smaller bridge, like right here. It's kind of hard to see through that. There you go. 2 bridges right there. Got some artwork right here. Okay, yeah, back to my idea. So one idea I thought about doing is like, well, why not keep it somewhat informative or educational, because it is about being a content creator. So while like I'm on set and while I'm talking to the actors, why not get a lot of that while we're working? That way, you know, you can hear direction and you can learn from that. Just like sometimes, like basketball coaches or football coaches, they'll videotape their practices, and even in theater, you know, they'll videotape rehearsals, or they'll videotape the production, or even dress rehearsal or something, or even like earlier in that, you know, like basically this is like the development stage, or the what they call the almost like the idea stage, you know, which is being videoed. So if I continued on, I'm like, well, you know, they have all these behind the scenes things that they show on YouTube, like Christopher Nolan's making the Dark Knight trilogy. That's all behind the scenes, and which I really wish they had the behind the scenes of the following, but I don't know if they do. You know what I mean? So it may be harder to do because it's like a first time film, but I could even do it. You know, I'd have to play a lot of roles. I'd have to play, for one thing, I'd have to play the role of the film director or video maker or whatever, documentarian, and then the lead actor, and also the supporting actor. You know, so I'd be playing like 4 roles, and the editor, of course, and lighting design and costume, and of course Linda would be the caterer, at least that, and if she chooses to end up playing Kitty, because it's going to be a mute role, so she doesn't have to worry about memorizing lines. And probably, you know, we'll get to that area when we get to the, but I'd be playing a lot of different roles, you know, like at one time. It's kind of a neat thing. There's the bridge I was talking about. That's the West 7th Bridge. It's pretty easy to walk on. It's a pretty easy area to film. There's a lot of love locks on it right now. Back when Rob and I were filming The Way of Man, when we were doing that short film, the love locks weren't there, because we filmed it about where the love locks are. You know, there's like French love locks, like right down that way, all the way, probably midway, right in there. They really need to get a little light right here, because it never really completely works out because of the way traffic is. Anyway, there's that bridge right there. Dog had a raincoat. All right, next one, 629.4, 1. All right, let's check out what we've done. So, yeah, we can leave that one for today. Take about 8 miles or 10 miles off that one. It's about 11 miles. And then yesterday and the day before, we'll go ahead and zero that one out. So we're dealing with about 10 of those, 10 or 15. All right, next one, 7:17, 10 minutes, 4.3. And it looks like there are predators at the Fort Worth Zoo. Asian and African. And there's also an iguana. I was a manager at that Einstein Bagels for a little while. My first and only management position. Other than, of course, you know, working for the 1099 gig economy, Uber Eats and Postmates and DoorDash and Grubhub and Favor and a little bit of roadie. I guess I was my own manager then too. These are all, I think these are all dorms for students, if I'm not mistaken. That one says something like Richards Hall and Arnold Hall. It's a lot of dorms. This campus must be pretty big. TCU is probably bigger than you think. I don't know if it's bigger than SMU, but probably relatively about the same size. It's a huge campus. I've been on campus several times when I was at Wesleyan because I had friends and stuff that were, you know, going there. But Wesleyan, I mostly, you know, was familiar with that area, and it was certainly two different areas of town. You know, Texas Wesleyan was like deep in Rosedale at the time. It was pretty hairy. This is more of kind of a privileged town. So they have some kind of sport event going on. Kind of what it looks like. Man, it's a lot of people. Probably some kind of athletic event or something. Kind of event, of course, is going on at TCU, but it's something, because this is all like neighborhood adjacent to the campus, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. Something pretty big. Probably some kind of event. Yeah, they've got the stadium. You wouldn't be able to see it, but the stadium is like half full. So maybe like baseball or something. Yeah, lo and behold, it's baseball. Frog baseball. All right. right, it's in 3 parts. 9:31, 6 minutes, 2.3 for first one. All right, next one's 9:53, 12, 5. So some things that I've been exploring for the original working title, The Circle, is some music. So I also play guitar, so I'm like, hitting some chords, finding some sounds that could, get kind of neo-noir, surreal kind of, soundtrack, score. So I plan to score the thing myself, as well as pretty much everything else, which, I would rather it be a collaborative effort. I was watching the Coen brothers the other night, and they were saying, well, we don't put Joel and Ethan Coen film. I mean, they do, because they put down the director, but they don't put it down as a Coen brothers film or whatever, because they feel it's a collaborative effort. And I feel completely 100%. I feel 100% the same, I think it is a collaborative effort, but not everybody wants to collaborate, But those that collaborate, it'll become a collaborative effort, is what I say. But not everybody gets an all-star cast and, all the money in the world to work on a movie, But some people do. And then it becomes collaborative because a lot of people are getting paid, But, you look at Eraserhead, that was a small crew. And I mean, mostly governed by David Lynch. If you look at it, there's photos of the crew. It's a handful of people. Now I don't know about post-production. I don't know if it expanded at post-production, but I don't think it was a very large crew of people, that were behind it. And there's a lot of people that left that film. Not the actual cast. All the actors stayed on set, for the whole 5 years. But one of the guys that heard about the film resigned from AFI because he didn't want to have anything to do with Eraserhead. And it turned out to be one of the all-time great movies. So it's still collaborative, even if you're working in an independent way with a very small crew or really with no one. It's still going to be collaborative. All right, 10, 11, 14, 6.7.